Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm John. I'm here today with Kaiser. We're going to talk about a few things that's going on. I guess that everyone's hair is on fire one more time over the pardoning of Hunter Biden by his dad and protecting the Biden crime family at all costs. And it's taken up the news cycle all day yesterday, and most of today will be more of the same, I'm sure. And the other news that's going out across the nation is the fact that an ultimatum has been served to Hezbollah and Hamas about getting the hostages released before he takes office, and on January 20th, he wants the hostages home and safe, and that is the American hostages that are being held as well as the Israeli hostages that have been held, and in God knows what shape they're going to be in, but there is a chance now that they will be released, and we'll get some satisfaction out of that. And a cessation to the hostilities that occur there. There was a massive threat put out by Donald J. Trump yesterday, and hopefully they'll heed that message that he's given them and come along with how it should be taken care of. But anyway, we're here, and it's a very cold winter day, as you can see by this picture here. And on the farm this morning, it was a wonderland to wake up to. Didn't expect much snow accumulation. Of course, we just got a dusting here. Well, most people up in the Buffalo region of New York and the south towns up there are really getting hammered with a heavy snowstorm, but that's Buffalo. And I'm sure that they'll dig out as they always do, and everyone will be fine. Not a lot going on other than Kamala Harris is getting a lot of press recently due to her I guess post-Thanksgiving drunken tirade that she was on with repeating herself about not giving up your power and all. And, well, there's a lot more to it. But anyway, I've got some memes for you today to show you about some of that going on. Well, here, just go ahead and take a look.
Okay, I can first.
And it means so much to me and to Governor Walz that you knocked on doors, you called friends, you called in favors. You said, hey, I showed up at your softball game. Now I need you to show up at the campaign office. You put in the time. It was personal for you. And you gave all that you could to support our campaign. Because of your efforts, get this, we raised an historic $1.4 billion, almost $1.5 billion from grassroots supporters alone, the most in presidential campaign history.
I said, ain't you forgetting something, ma'am?
And the Harris campaign now in debt, $20 million. Lindy Lee, one member of the DNC's finance committee, says she and others were misled about the vice president's chance of winning the election. Lee says she helped raise millions for the campaign and now has to explain to donors why Harris lost. Just one example of their spending. The Harris campaign spent $450,000 a day.
$450,000 a day.
This was on ads displayed in Las Vegas, and now staff members and vendors are worried they may not get paid.
It can't get any worse.
Oh, it gets worse.
According to the reports, the Harris campaign spending six figures building a set for Harris's appearance on the Call Her Daddy podcast with host Alex Cooper.
This is what it's about. This is what we're best at. because we keep crushing it. Democrats, we keep crushing it. Look at all the elections you've won, Democrats. You keep winning. You keep outperforming. It's extraordinary. Pat yourselves on the back.
Another big ticket price, the $15 million the Harris campaign spent on event production. That also went towards the celebrity performances leading up to the election, like that Election Eve rally with Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Ricky Martin.
And look where that got you.
Think about that.
An historic $1.4 billion, almost $1.5 billion.
At first, we didn't know what to do with all the money. We tried burying it, shredding it, and burning it. But in the end, we decided to just give it all away.
Come again, sir. I'm getting back in line.
Well, it's clear and present that, we didn't have any riots after this election, which were threatened. They were going to burn down cities and not accept the fact that Donald Trump won the election. But here's the key to the whole thing, and if you want to remember back to the 2020 elections, when cities were burning and Tim Walz's wife left the windows open so she could smell the wonderful smell of the city of that he governs burning. But anyway, it's a funny situation that now that she has blown through $1.5 million or $1.5 billion trying to get elected, that they don't have any money left in the coffers. They're out raising money now. And the reason that nothing burned and there were no riots is that there was no money to pay Antifa and BLM and all of the little Santa's little helpers, or Kamala's little helpers, along with Joe Biden, to go out and cause havoc, because they like to be paid to do that. And we now know that that's what happened in 2020. It's not easy for them right now, without money in the coffers, to pull off anything that will be anti-Trump and big right now, because they don't have the money to pay the people to do this, which would indicate to me that they never really had the backing of any people, other than the fact that people were making money from them to do the things that they needed to make sure that their candidate got elected, which didn't happen, and heads are still on fire over that. And there's a lot of people complaining about the loss of their money. They didn't think that they were told the truth. And that's evident in some of the reruns of the things that have happened throughout this election. She didn't go on great programs. She went on safe programs. And safe programs like Call Her Daddy, which makes no sense to me, but I guess there's a reason for it. But she couldn't even go to their studios because she had to have a set built for $250,000. And it wasn't a very good set. I mean, I could have put that together for under $1,000, what they did for her. Made a sign and put it on the wall, and a couple of cheap pieces of furniture and some carpeting and drapes, and $250,000. Somebody got a lot of money out of that. That's not an interview. When you have to pay somebody to say something, you're not being interviewed. You're being a fraud, basically, and that's why she lost the election, and that's what they need to come to the realization for. After all the time and money spent, they need to reevaluate, and James Carville thinks that he can fix all this Well, that's fine, but it's going to take a while to win back trust of people that will donate millions of dollars to a campaign that was at best lackluster and hidden in a basement one more time without the proper interviews, without the ability to sit through a Joe Rogan 3-hour discussion. And that's what Joe Rogan does. He has people on to have a discussion like one human being to another, which Donald Trump did, J.D. Vance did, Elon Musk did, but she couldn't bring herself to do that because she doesn't have enough substance to sit through a 3-hour question and answer or just have a normal person-to-person conversation so the American people can see exactly what they're voting for or who they're voting for by listening to what they have to say about inane subjects as well as the subjects that are pressing, such as the economy, such as the open border, such as where we are in the world stage anymore, where we are with the wars that we're funding. These are things that she did not want to answer for, maybe because she didn't have an answer for it, or maybe because she does not know what was really going on because someone else behind the curtain has been running this entire administration and has been all along. And she wasn't capable of coming out and telling anything because she did not know. I prefer that that's the truth rather than she just out and out lied to everybody or didn't have the ability to answer any of these questions or sit through an invasive questioning of what her true platform was and what the solutions to these problems were, rather than doubling down on the problems that were created by her administration. It's clear and simple there. And it goes on and on and on. And until we get a handle on this government being straightened out and the money situation balanced and get back into where our debt is not eclipsing our military budget, it is unbelievable. Speaking of the military, we have for the first time in 80-some years had the lowest recruitment numbers coming into this year end of 2024 than we have seen in 80-some years. There's a reason for that, and the reasoning is beyond belief about what has happened in the 4 years of this administration, what's happened to our military, what's happened to our standing around the world, and what's happened to our readiness if and when we have to call our troops out to defend this country one more time. It's almost hard to believe that the military is at this low of a standpoint, but I believe after January, there'll be more pride in the military. There'll be more people wanting to go to the academies. We're recruiting people of officer candidates, and we're recruiting people that want to have a good life in the military, learn something, come back as we've seen in the past, and become productive members of a society that cares about our veterans and will pick a veteran over a non-veteran for a job because they know that they have abilities far beyond that of what the schools will produce for them in this day and age. Well, here, let's just take a look at this.
But I do want to circle back to a point that my colleague made a few minutes ago about the fact that this is a volunteer force. If you have scandals at the Department of Defense, if you have a leader that has engaged in public drunkenness and dishonorable behavior, and frankly, remember, even committing adultery is a violation of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Much less serial adultery, much less dancing on the stage with strippers. These are all violations of the military code that you can, in fact, be prosecuted for under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. How are they going to recruit people to come into this military? How are young men and women going to go, yeah, that's where I want to go. I want to lay my life on the line to follow that guy into battle.
And now a quick look at the military under Joe Biden's leadership.
Don't.
The U.S. military officials say fewer people are signing up to serve. The military will begin the new year with the smallest active duty force in more than 80 years.
Yeah, crazy numbers here. It's the lowest since about 1940. And this means a lot of questions for recruiters, like what's going on here?
The Army is expected to be about 15,000 recruits short. The Navy projects it will fall 10,000 short, and the Air Force 3,000 recruits below its goal.
And we're just getting started.
U.S. Navy is approaching a drag queen influencer to help persuade new recruits into joining the military. Yeoman Second Class Joshua Kelly, who goes by Harpy Daniels, announced back in November that he was the Navy's new digital ambassador.
First of all, on the issue of critical race theory, et cetera, I'll obviously have to get much smarter on whatever the theory is. But I do think it's important, actually, for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read. And the United States Military Academy is a university. And it is important that we train and we understand. And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it.
How are young men and women going to go, yeah, that's where I want to go. I want to lay my life on the line to follow that guy into battle.
Exactly.
You've got to take that defeatist attitude and subdue it. Wrestle it to the ground. Pin its well-oiled and musky form down hard. And let it feel your soft breath on the back of its neck.
We are led by very, very stupid people. Very, very stupid people.
I'd say it's a sad state of affairs that we're in right now militarily for recruitment. And I believe that will change. My hope and prayer is that it will change. And I'm watching I deal with a lot of the junior ROTC people in the local high schools that are in this area. And we give out scholarships every year to certain individuals to help them along in their processes of thinking of making a career in the military. And I see a lot of hope and promise in the faces of these high school ROTC participants every time I come to one of these schools and see these young people that are putting their pride out, their patriot pride out in front of the rest of the students, and hopefully it'll catch fire there and we'll get more and more people interested in maybe a military life to serve the United States of America and serve your neighbors. And the rest of the world depends in some cases on us being ready at any given time. So we need to get that back on track, and I'm sure that the Trump picks for this will enlighten a lot of people to the good and the need for what we have here in the United States military. Not only the academies, but the service branches all are down some, Air Force being the least, but take a look into it.
That's the fact, Jack! That's the fact, Jack!
Because if you have sons and daughters, I understood for these past 4 years why you wouldn't encourage that for them. But I believe in come January, that will all change, and we'll be better off for it. In other news, the Senate is back and meeting with some of the candidates that were picks for Trump's cabinet, and hopefully they'll be on their way to maybe helping when the confirmation hearings come out. They'll have a little bit more proofs on their desk to look at before they interview, and questions that are being asked now by certain Republican individuals, and we'll see where that goes, but I would hold on for that because we still have some really weird people that will sit on that nomination committee, like Raskin and people of that nature that are just miserable people, and they're now even more miserable because their party got shown the door from the White House, from the Senate, and from the halls of Congress. One of the other things that people are upset about today, and people's hairs are on fire over it again, is the fact that Joe Biden came out with and lied again about pardoning his son, Hunter. And, well, here, just take a look.
Flashback. Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well, is there?
I just said no.
Would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes. He said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
You've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute the sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
His son, Hunter, is also up for being sentenced next month. Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
Yeah, right. A little later.
Breaking news. President Biden has just pardoned his son Hunter on gun and tax charges that he was facing.
I am Jack's complete lack of surprise.
Politicians are a lot like diapers. They should be changed frequently and for the same reason. Keep that in mind next time you vote. Good night.
So we'll see where that goes. But here it is, Tuesday, and Taco Tuesday one more time, and we're very cold here. Our high today is going to be 31 degrees. Our lows will be in the 20s tonight, and we did have a skiff of snow, as I showed you earlier. And it was really a pretty morning out there, looking out the window at the snow-covered trees and pastures and roads too. But not a tremendous storm in any way, shape, or form. We're going to lay in some more firewood today and hunker down this evening. And if anything comes along, we'll get right back to you here on the Kaiser Report to talk to you about it. But it has been an interesting ride in this last few months of this election that took place. A lot of people are very happy about the wind of change coming through. And
the winds of change.
Papa's home and wait till we tell him what needs to be done, and he'll do it. So that's happening. I'm very pleased with most of his cabinet picks. I believe that he is a very smart individual, and I believe that our country will benefit immensely from this if we let him have the chance to do what we know he is capable of doing, and we'll all be better off for it. So on this cold Tuesday afternoon, or morning, rather, it's still morning, we're going to say we'll let you go, and we're entering into the Christmas season, so we'll be more and more apt to find some Christmas stuff to show you here and there, right up through Christmas Day. It is a wonderful, wonderful time of year. It's a good time to sit with the children at night and turn on some good old-fashioned Christmas music. And from what I'm reading and what I'm being told is probably stay away from Wicked in the movie theaters, because it will just be an aggravation to most people that I know anyway. From what I've read, I'm not going to bother to see it, and I certainly wouldn't be taking children to be indoctrinated by a film again with bad behavior and nonsense that Walt Disney would have never in his life stood for. But that's the way Hollywood crumbles anymore, and Hollywood is crumbling. You don't have near the talent that you used to have coming out of Hollywood. They're all older now, and if you noticed, even some of the made for Netflix and Prime and those movies of that nature, they're bringing back these older actors and actresses to play parts now, because they just don't have the imagination is gone from Hollywood, and scripts are not there like they used to be back in the old days. And the entertainment industry has been disturbing at best, in my estimation, but maybe it'll come back, maybe it won't. Disney has made a lot of mistakes, starting with Captain Jack Sparrow, and since then it's been only getting worse. The remakes of things that were staples in our lives are being done haphazardly, in my estimation. So the entertainment has been down, and in quality, let's just say that. Casting, let's just say that. And we'll leave that there. But there are a lot of movies that can be had on these different platforms, such as It's a Wonderful Life, it's a staple, The Santa Claus, Jingle All the Way. These are films that are entertaining and timeless. So make a weekend, make some popcorn, sit down with the family and watch one of these movies and have some laughs. We need to bring humor back into our lives even more. And it's stressful, and it was hard this past year to do that. It's been that way since the advent of COVID hit here, but we're going to change that now. We're going to look more toward the happy side of life and the sunny side of the street, and that's where we're going to dwell in this next 4 years as we get back our wonderful country back the way it was, and the profitability back in our own lives, and we're going to bring God back to this nation. It was founded upon the belief and the trust and faith in God Almighty, and He's back, we're back, and we're going to have a wonderful Tuesday. And until tomorrow's report, unless something major comes up, Kaiser and I are going to say have a wonderful, wonderful rest of this day. And remember, stay safe, stay strong, and stay tuned to the Kaiser Report for commentary and news bits that you'll get with a taste of humor. So bye-bye now.